Hey guys, so animal rights advocate and law professor Gary Francione just put out a video talking about two things that I talked about in a recent video. The video I did about the definition of veganism and vegan Cheetah and his weird idea of what it means to be vegan. So a couple of things that I talked about a little bit was like dumpster diving or freeganism, and also this idea of eating like small amounts of animal products, things like, buying bread with like monoglycerides that may not be plant derived. Or an even better example would be like going to a restaurant and ordering a veggie burger, so ordering a vegan meal, but maybe it is cooked on top of a grill that is also used to cook animal products. So obviously there is going to be like animal fat on the grill that is then going to get onto your veggie burger when it's cooked on the grill. So I talked about both of these things, neither of these things being an issue in terms of veganism being an issue for vegans or being like a moral dilemma in any way. I think it's perfectly fine for people to be freegan. I think that's pretty freaking awesome, to be honest. And I think it's perfectly fine to eat the veggie burger that's cooked on a grill that's also being used to cook animal products. Gary Francione does not agree.
Should we be consuming potatoes that are cooked in oil in which animal products have been fried? So should you be eating fried potatoes where the oil has been used to cook chicken, for example? The answer is no, that's not vegan. That oil contains animal fat. When you're eating those potatoes, you're consuming animal fat. Now you say, well, but it's just a little bit.
That is not the argument, and this is something that Francione does a lot, so I have to wonder, is he just not understanding things, or is he just being intentionally obtuse? And I suspect it's the latter, because obviously he's not stupid, so I really think he's just intentionally misrepresenting people. For instance, he loves to present himself as an abolitionist, but the rest of us, those of us who think that incremental changes, incremental improvements in the lives of farm animals are good, we actually support that. He presents us as welfarists. The truth is that most of us who support incremental changes are also abolitionists. We believe that the ideal is no animal exploitation. We just don't believe, because the research has shown that preaching "go vegan, it's easy" is always effective. We know that, number one, many people respond to reduction messages, to messages asking people to go vegetarian or to eat less meat or to try Meatless Monday. And number two, we know that any reduction in animal suffering is a reduction and is therefore making a difference, a positive difference, even if that difference is just a tiny bit more living space. And I'm going to stop there because I will have a video more on this in the near future, so stay tuned for that. My point is that Francione is doing the same thing here. He is completely misrepresenting the argument. He's saying that the reason myself and others believe that it's totally okay to eat potatoes that are cooked in oil that's also used to cook chicken, he's saying that we think that's okay because it's just a little bit. It's just a little bit of chicken. It's just a little bit of animal product. No. That would be like saying that it's okay to buy ramen with small packets of meat powder because it's just a little bit of meat. Of course not. As I discussed in this video, again, the vegan Cheetah video, that is not vegan. The reason that I and many others say that the potato example is okay, along with the like veggie burger example that I gave earlier, is because neither one of these are increasing demand for chicken or any other animal products. They are not contributing to animal exploitation in any way. And plus, as I have quoted many times before, we discourage vegetarians from grilling waiters at restaurants about micro-ingredients in vegetarian foods. For example, a tiny bit of a dairy product in the bun of a veggie burger. Doing so makes sticking to a vegetarian diet seem difficult and dogmatic to your friends and to restaurant staff, thus discouraging them from giving a vegetarian diet a try, which really hurts animals. And we urge vegetarians not to insist that their food be cooked on equipment separate from that used to cook meat. Doing so doesn't help any additional animals, and it only makes restaurants less inclined to offer vegetarian choices, which again hurts animals.
There are all sorts of instances in which we can think of vegan, otherwise vegan dishes involving a little bit of animal products. You have some otherwise vegan meal, which is sprinkled with cheese or with ground beef. Just a little bit. Is it vegan? Absolutely not.
I agree. But again, there is a huge difference between intentionally putting beef or cheese onto a dish or whatever, and ordering potatoes cooked in oil that's also used to cook chicken. In the first case, you are purchasing animal products. You're purchasing cheese and beef and increasing demand for these products. In the second case, you aren't.
Vegans don't eat, wear, or otherwise use animal products. It's really that simple.
This is why I and many other vegans prefer the Vegan Society definition of veganism, as I discussed in the Vegan Cheetah video. Veganism is a way of living which seeks to exclude, as far as is possible and practicable, all forms of exploitation of and cruelty to animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose. How is it cruel to pay for and eat potatoes that are cooked in oil that's also used to cook chickens? How are you contributing to exploitation of chickens in any way by doing this?
The argument that, well, if I'm dumpster diving and I find discarded meat or discarded animal products in a dumpster that people are throwing away, I'm not increasing demand for animal products. What's wrong with my eating them? Well, to the extent that anybody sees you eat them, you certainly are increasing demand because you're reinforcing the idea that animal foods are things to eat, and that is going to increase demand because you're sending a message out, and that message is consistent with the overall speciesist message that leads to our exploiting non-human animals.
That is going to increase demand, like 100% going to increase demand. Where is the evidence for this? This is an empirical claim. It can be tested and it can be verified or not verified. Where is the data proving this is a thing? And to those of you who still eat meat, like, serious question, if you saw someone dumpster diving and like pulling meat out of a dumpster, is that really appetizing? Like, does that really make you like want to eat meat? Does that feel like, I don't know, like it's reinforcing eating meat for you? I feel like if I still ate meat and I saw that, it would have the opposite effect.
Well, what if I do it in secret? I just love the lengths to which people will go to try to justify consuming animal products.
Yes, people really, really like the taste and convenience of meat, and it's obvious that Francione is pretty disgusted by that. Is this really the best way to reach people? Like, particularly people who are really trying to do their best, they're trying to do better and they're trying to eat less meat. Like, the best way to encourage them is to sneer at them and to show obvious disdain towards them?
What if I do it in private? I'm not increasing demand. Well, that may be true. If you do it in private, other people aren't seeing you. But think about it for a second. You know you're doing it, and you're reinforcing for you the idea that animals are things to eat, that animal products are things to eat.
That could actually be true. I could see how someone who is freegan or trying to be freegan, I have a video on freeganism, by the way, I could see how maybe they could try to justify other, not freegan forms of eating meat. Maybe they can't find the freegan options and they really want meat. So maybe just this once, they end up purchasing some meat instead. And there is certainly something to be said for disgust factor. I mean, of course, it can't be used to defend veganism. The fact that meat, personally disgusts me is not a good reason for you to stop eating meat. But it certainly can help you stay vegan, right? I mean, if you don't like eating meat, if you find it repellent, you're probably going to have an easier time being vegetarian. It's no surprise to me that seemingly so many vegans really weren't big fans of meat in the first place. I know that I wasn't, and it definitely made going vegetarian a lot easier for me. Now, cheese and ice cream, that was a different story. But this should not be used to justify fear-mongering against freeganism, against dumpster diving. It does not contribute to animal exploitation, and it's a viable option for some people. It's similar to the argument that we ideally shouldn't date omnivores. There is an argument to be made that if you are a vegan and you date, particularly if you marry, if you enter into like a long-term relationship with an omnivore, that you are probably more likely going to give up veganism, start eating animal products again somewhere down the road. But does that mean that we should tell vegans that this is going to happen and that they should only date other vegans? Of course not. And plus, look, it could go the other way, right? The omnivore could end up going vegan. That's basically what happened with my parents. My mom went vegan, and then slowly but surely, my dad because of her cooking and what was available, he kept slowly but surely eliminating certain animal products. He started drinking almond milk and things like that. And now, he is mostly vegan, and my mom is still vegan. That's pretty awesome. My point here is that I think our little club, our little vegan club, I think it's exclusive enough. I don't want to drive more people away from veganism by making it more negative and cult-like, by, denigrating freegans who eat dumpster meat or vegans who marry omnivores.
If while you were going through the dumpster, you found a nice, fresh human arm, somebody who just recently died, it's quite still warm, would you eat it? And the answer is no, of course you wouldn't. Why not? Because human body parts are not things to eat. Exactly. And that's true for animal body parts. That's where we want to get to. That's where the abolitionist movement wants to get to in terms of looking at animal body parts. We need to be reinforcing the idea that animal body parts and animal products are not things to eat.
And it's just that simple, guys. Animal products are just like human arms, so don't eat them. So everyone's vegan now, right? I really wish it were this simple, but it obviously is not. Eating animal products is a societal norm. Eating humans is not. Most people are not disgusted by this. They're not disgusted by, pig meat or cow meat or whatever. They think it is normal, natural, and necessary. The 3 N's, as Melanie Joy describes it. While one day I hope and I truly believe that people will see a ham hock the same way or close to the same way as they see a human arm, we just aren't there yet. And the research that we have so far tells us that just saying, go vegan, it's easy, isn't going to get us there anytime soon. We have to use a varied, pragmatic approach, one that recognizes the complexity of human psychology and the predominant culture that allows people to do monstrous things like participate in animal cruelty on a daily basis.
So it doesn't really matter whether someone sees you or someone doesn't see you. There's something wrong going on there, no matter what.
Saying something is wrong doesn't make it so. Dumpster diving causes no harm. So why is it wrong? Because Francione says it is? That's not an argument. Again, if he really thinks that it increases demand by encouraging people to consume animal products, by buying animal products, then he should have evidence to back this up. But he doesn't. It just sounds right, so it is right, I guess.
If you take this seriously, if you take veganism seriously, and you're in a restaurant, and you really want some fried potatoes, and they only have fried potatoes that are made in oil that has animal fat, if you take morality seriously, you don't eat the potatoes.
I think he means that if you take purity seriously, if you are so hell-bent on saying that no animal products of any kind enter your body, then don't eat the potatoes. Otherwise, eat the potatoes, don't eat the potatoes. It's vegan either way.
It's easy to be vegan, and it's a simple principle. We don't eat them, we don't wear them, we don't use them. End of story.
You gotta love how the same person who spends a video seemingly trying to make veganism difficult by making it unnecessarily restrictive and dogmatic ends the video by saying how easy it is to be vegan. So that's it, guys. I do want to give a quick shout out to Mod Vegan. Mod Vegan is a YouTuber. You should check out her stuff. She posted about this on the philosophicalvegan.com forum, and I checked out the video and was like, I guess I'll talk about this because I just talked about these 2 things again in the Vegan Cheetah video. And I thought it was good to hear the other side, to see what the arguments are, I guess, from someone, particularly from someone who is respected by many within the kind of vegan movement, the animal rights movement, someone who is seen as a bit like more credible, right, than just us like dirty YouTubers, I guess. So yeah, and as you can see, there aren't really any arguments to be made, right? It's just mostly purity and I don't like this and this disgusts me. It's rather frustrating to me. And again, the kind of the feeling I get coming from him in terms of how he feels about people who are trying to be vegan and trying to do better, I don't find it very encouraging. Again, the research that we have, not only on eating less meat, not only on going vegan, but just in general trying to do better and getting people to do better, it's being nice, it's being encouraging that does better than just sneering at people and kind of showing your obvious disgust. That doesn't work very well. Anyway, I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or questions, you can check those. You can check them out. You can post them. You can leave them down below in the comments. You know how this works. If you want to subscribe, you can subscribe, and I'll have a new video soon. A video called Thought of the Day, but it's just a little bit and dumpster diving, and I wanted to talk about it. That's the intro. Good job, Swayze. So that is it. I do want to give, and that is it for this video. I want to give a shout outs. I don't, not sure what that would entail.